Unnamed Peak 2886, located at the east head of Noyes Creek, was first ascended in 1924 by the Topographical Survey via an unknown route. I've always known it as Iceface Peak, and it's been on my radar for quite a while. When I saw Andrew Noguera recently ascended it, I made plans. Wietze and I ascended Noyes Creek, sticking mostly in the creek bed with short deviations to smatterings of trail on its north side. At a swampy meadow, we took the southeast branch to a high call under Mount Noyes. From the call, we ascended easy southeast slopes to the summit. Taking a chance, we tagged the northwest outlier before plunging east and then hiking a giant northwest bowl to access the northeast branch of Noyes Creek. Navigating some cliffs, we joined with our morning track and completed the route all the way back to Highway 93. Wietze and I parked at the surprisingly busy Waterfowl Lakes parking area and quickly crossed Highway 93 and started up Noyes Creek. The first 2.5 kilometers up the creek are typical Rockies creek hiking, a mix of boulder hopping, smatterings of the trail on the north side, and avoiding wet feet as much as possible. Although my topo map promised a lake after 2.5 kilometers, what we got instead was more of a swamp. In May or June there might be enough water here for a very shallow lake, but I doubt it. We crossed the mud flats without getting our feet too wet. The swampy area happened to be near the split in Noyes Creek, with one branch continuing up to the northeast and the other to the southeast. I had a track from Phil Richards where he ascended Marmota Peak via the northeast branch, but we were going to take the southeast route to a high call between Mount Noyes and the southeast end of Iceface. Noguera indicated to me in an email that this was the route he would take if he could do things over again. We decided that rather than stick in the creek to our left, we would cross an open area to a buttress and take rubble and scree slopes to the top of it. This worked perfectly. From the top of the buttress there was very little height loss back into the valley, and our views even improved somehow. Now we could see the distant call and an immense waterfall plunging hundreds of feet from a hanging glacier on Mount Noyes' northeast face. The next hour or so is pure hiking magic. Just as Noguera suspected, the southeast branch of Upper Noyes Creek is a very special little area. At the end of the approach valley there were various options for ascent. Rubble slopes near the center looked unattractive, so we chose climbers left, where slabs and easy ledges made things much more interesting and fun. There were easy to moderate scrambling lines up this terrain, but nothing harder than that. As we topped out just over the call, we could see an easy route up more rubble to the north, directly to up the end of the southeast ridge of Iceface. A line of cliffs above didn't look very threatening, and as we approached them we easily found a ramp leading up and over. Again, no more than easy scrambling.
Wow. Just a cascade of noise from the glacier melting.
Despite some haze in the air, the views from Iceface were even better than I was expecting. South Totem, Spreading Peak, Corona Ridge, and Marmota Peak featured prominently and all brought back great memories of previous trips. After snapping summit photos, we had a decision to make. Up until standing at the top, we were planning to return the way we'd come. But the day was so gorgeous and the traverse had been so rewarding that we didn't want it to end just yet. We knew that Noguera made some mistakes on his route that we wanted to avoid, but I had a secret weapon that he didn't. I happened to have Phil Richards' GPS track from an ascent he and Raph made of Marmota Peak via the northeast branch of Noyes Creek. I knew that as long as we could descend to that track, we'd find an escape to the valley below. We decided to take a chance and descend the north bowl of the false summit into the upper northeast branch of Noyes Creek and hope a route presented itself there. As expected, the walk over to the north summit was easy and very scenic. Views back to Iceface with its east glacier were especially sublime. Views of Noyes, Quill, and other giants in the area continued to keep my camera warm. This was turning into a very worthwhile objective. We were also relieved to see an easy scree run from the false summit to a low call towards Marmota. We couldn't see the whole exit line from here. Wheatzel was a little nervous, but I assured him it would go. I crossed my fingers behind my back as I said that.
Look at that.
Much of the scree and rubble in this area is hardpack and nasty stuff that doesn't slide underfoot and threatens to cheese grater you if you slip or fall on it. I hate that stuff. Thankfully, the scree leading into the North Bowl was nice and soft and fast as we had descended to a call and then down into the bowl below, following a faint goat track. As we passed a scenic shallow pond in the North Bowl, we realized that our escape wouldn't be quite as easy as we first thought. Big surprise. From the edge of the North Bowl, we could see down to a large plateau. Getting down to this plateau would be fairly straightforward, but the worrying thing was obvious cliffs running below that. Darn it! Were we screwed? I was still oddly confident that we would find a route. The terrain looked like it had options, and I could now see where Phil's track likely went.
Well, I agree. And we have a track to follow down that side.
Right.
So yeah, absolutely.
As expected, once we got to the edge of the plateau, we spotted an escape route that would likely get us onto Phil's track under Spreading Peak. The route would involve side-hilling rubble slopes above the cliffs and then navigating more rubble high above the valley to tree line to avoid them. And then, as we traversed, we got lucky. A very obvious and straightforward rubble ramp led down through the cliff bands to the valley below. We didn't trust our own eyes and hummed and hawed for a bit before committing to the line.
Ooh. Nice.
The ramp went very easily. Sweet. We were now at tree line and our confidence in our exit was 100%. Phil's GPS track came into our line a few hundred meters down the creek. We couldn't believe how awesome this route had worked. I love it when that happens. We easily escaped one last band of stubborn cliffs before starting the long and hot exit of Noyes Creek. It wasn't difficult, but seemed to take a long time to balance and hike our way over loose boulders and debris in the dry creek bed. After the lake, that's actually a swamp, the creek flowed again and travel remained easy. I can't say enough good things about this scramble. Honestly, it has a little bit of everything that most explorers I know look for in an obscure little peak. Why the heck wouldn't you want to do this peak? Just don't read Andrew's report and you'll be fine.
Good job, man.